Hey, what's up guys? Rules for Rebels. Just going to try to make it a quick video today. I watched a really interesting speech by John McAfee, and it was called John McAfee on the fundamental flaws of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I may edit in some clips of his speech in here at the end here. But one of the main things he said was if you're not using a hardware wallet, it's not a matter of if your Bitcoins will be stolen, it's a matter of when your Bitcoins will be stolen. He said if
people who keep hundreds of thousands of dollars in wallets on smartphones, that money will disappear one day, guaranteed.
If you're keeping your Bitcoins on A, a phone, or B, your computer, they will be stolen at some point. He goes on to talk about hackers and things like that. And you guys know John McAfee. He created McAfee Antivirus. He was like a pioneer in the antivirus industry. And he's kind of a little bit goofy too, but he's a really smart guy, and he's really kind of into the cryptocurrency space. And one of the main focuses of his talk, and he goes on to talk about other flaws of Bitcoin, but one of his, and cryptocurrencies in general, but one of the main things he said is you have to have a hardware wallet. And he talks about how he tries to infect his devices with malware and viruses because he wants to see, like,
security field. I go out of my way to get infections on everything that I have, my laptops, my phones. About 2.5 months ago, it was one of these,
like, what kind of viruses are going on right now and how are hackers trying to steal your data. And he goes on to talk about how in the past hackers tried to intercept data. So as your phone or computer was sending data to something, they would try to take it. He said now what they try to do is take over your device itself.
No man in the middle anymore. No one's trying to listen to communication from one point to another. They're trying to get into your phone to become the master of that phone.
And he kind of famously talks about, he says your smartphone, any mobile device, it is meant to be a spying device. Now,
Phones are designed, all mobile devices are designed for what? To be spy devices. Why? Because they sell to marketers everything that they possibly find out about you. Your location. Are you close to the store? What did you last buy? Who are your friends? Whose friends are their friends? What are you saying in your emails and your text messages?
now he says if you read all the permissions that you give apps on your phone, you'd be blown away. And of course nobody reads that. Like, you know, I download an app and I'm clicking through like, okay. But he goes on to say basically, like, most of the spying that goes on our cell phones and stuff like that is pretty benign, right? They're taking our data to sell it to marketers. So they're reading our emails, they're reading our text messages, they want to know who our friends are, they want to know what restaurants we go to, where we shop at, etc. And occasionally your smartphone may say, hey, you eat a lot of Japanese food, there's a Japanese restaurant down the block. And that's kind of a benign example of spying, right? And you say, okay, ignore. But what he says is if, whether it be Google or apps or software, if they're able to spy on you, hackers can also take advantage of those vulnerabilities in your device, your phone, whatever, and they can steal your Bitcoins or steal your cryptocurrencies. And he says every Bitcoin wallet that he's used on a phone or computer, he's had Bitcoins or Ethereum stolen off of. He said he was using the Mycelium wallet, which he actually says is a very secure wallet, but the flaw in pretty much all these wallets, everything but a hardware wallet. Actually, I'm gonna go get my Trezor.
And the second thing is the absolute foolishness of having software wallets. Being in why? Because here's what I forgot. Among the things that were downloaded on my system were key locking software and obviously screen capture. So Mycelium has a six-character code before you can actually proceed with the transaction. As soon as I type that code in, whoever's monitoring my phone now had my code from Mycelium, and it was empty. So what does that mean? That means that, let's say you've got a brand new wallet, and they say, here are your seed keys, please type them in. Well, whoever's in the phone also has your seed keys.
To show you guys something real quick, he says every wallet but a hardware wallet has one fundamental flaw.
So unless you're testing things like I'm doing, and your wallet is on a computer of any kind, your pad, your smartphone, it's going to go away. Count on it. It will disappear. So what are we left with? You know, I'm not promoting Trezor or anything else, but we're left with the only solution that you have, and that is it's got to be a hardware device offline.
And he says what that fundamental flaw is at some point, whether you're extracting your private keys or whether you're creating your recovery seed, either you're going to have to type in your seed, in which case if a hacker has a keylogger on your computer, they get your seed. Or if it displays, even if you don't type it in, if your seed displays on your computer screen and somebody's monitoring what's going on your computer screen, they see it. Well, here's the beauty of these.
Even hardware devices that give you your seed keys on your smartphone, well, that's stupid. Who cares if it is a hardware device? Because if you have keystroke logging software or screen capture software, then the hackers have it anyway. I promise you this, that somebody is going to one day do a sweep, and 200,000 people are going to lose everything that they have in Bitcoin on every mobile device that they have.
These little hardware wallets, this little device like this Trezor right here, is when my recovery seed is being created, it's actually displaying on this device right here. It's not displaying on my computer. So if a hacker had a keylogger on my computer, or if a hacker were monitoring what's going on my screen, everything's going on right here, not on my computer screen. So that's why this is safer.
You gotta have some hardware device, bury in your backyard, put it in your refrigerator, whatever.
Another thing is when I go to log in with my PIN, I've showed you guys, if you guys watch my video on Trezor, you've seen it. But basically on my computer screen, it's just going to be a bunch of asterisks and like a tic-tac-toe box. Well, basically my Trezor screen is every time I log in, it's going to scramble the numbers. So if somebody's monitoring my screen, they can see I'm clicking top left, top right, bottom center, middle. But the next time I log in, it's going to be bottom right, bottom left, middle, top right, because you're going to need the Trezor to access that. So basically McAfee says, unless you're using a hardware device, one day a Chinese or Russian hacker or whatever is going to steal your Bitcoin. So that's the importance of these things right here. They are a little bit expensive. I think I paid, probably $130 for this. The ledger's a little bit cheaper. I think it's like 58 euros, which probably comes to 60 something dollars. I haven't checked out the Keep Key, and that was one of McAfee's things, is cryptocurrencies really need to kind of get the price of hardware wallets down. He kind of says that you should be able to buy a hardware wallet for like $20. So he's kind of encouraging people to continue to develop those. And that's kind of the first part of the speech, was security of your Bitcoins and things like that. The second part of his speech, he goes on to talk about how cryptocurrencies are unnecessarily complicated. And I thought he had some good points here. So I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comment section below. Like when you guys log into your wallets, when you send Bitcoins, are you 100% comfortable and confident in what you're doing? Because personally, I'm not. Even though I know what I'm doing, and even though I'm very safe about what I do, at the end of the day, like if I'm sending $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, like I freak the fuck out. Like I'm checking the the address like 100 times. A lot of times I'll send a small amount, like I'll send $20 before I go and send a larger amount, because I want to make sure everything's running smoothly. And McAfee himself, who is a bright guy, he kind of jokes about sometimes late at night when he's drinking wine, he loses Bitcoins, and he talks about how
everything shapeshift. I lost $9,000 over the past 6 months doing transactions on shapeshift because I can't keep them straight. Sometimes you have four different wallets you have to worry about. So you do a copy and paste here, and it's hard. So you wonder why the user base is as small as it is.
Because he's lost thousands of dollars in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you guys know anything about John McAfee, like he used to party hard. Like I think he used to, there's stories about him at his desk in the morning. He would drink a bottle of Jack, snort like an 8-ball of Coke, and that's how he started his day. I know there's one famous story where somebody gave him some DMT, and he did a little bit and he didn't feel anything, so he did the whole bag. And I guess he spent the rest of the morning hiding out behind trash cans behind the office. So he does like to party. I think he may have been fucked up when he had some of these cryptocurrency losses, but he says, look, I consider myself to have above average intelligence, and I've lost thousands of dollars. And it's definitely true. A buddy of mine called me yesterday. He was buying Bitcoin off a guy at a Starbucks. He didn't wait for his confirmations. The guy did a double spend, and he wound up getting I think $500 taken from him. I have several other friends who have sent Bitcoins to wrong addresses and done other stupid things. And with like the traditional banking system, there's ways to remedy this. There's ways to pull back your money. And, well, this is actually a positive thing about Bitcoin, in that there's no reversals and things like that. At the end of the day, like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And if you're going to be your own bank, that gives you a lot of freedom and a lot of power, but it also puts a lot of responsibility in your hands, and you have to really know what you're doing. And McAfee goes on to say that a very small percentage of the population is using Bitcoin right now. And he says kind of the reason for that is because unless you have a friend or know somebody who's using Bitcoin and they can hold your hand through the process, a lot of people can't figure out how to get started or are too intimidated how to get started in cryptocurrencies. And I think it's really true.
How do users come into Bitcoin? It's almost like a fraternity. If you do not know someone who's already using Bitcoin, they can hold your hand and say, listen, you can lose everything you have if you're not careful. And you know this is true. You've got to know what you're doing. Well,
I kind of taught myself about Bitcoin for the most part, but all my friends and family that I've introduced to it, they're having me help them set up their wallets. They're asking me where they can buy it. I got a buddy out in Vegas who's getting really big into Bitcoin right now, and he's trying to buy and sell it. And he's had a couple big screw-ups. This morning, he actually paid $500 for one vert coin, which he should have been able to buy for 40 cents because he didn't understand how the exchanges worked. This same guy yesterday got scammed out of $500 because he bought Bitcoin from a guy who did a double spend and didn't wait for confirmations. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's very, very easy to lose money and to potentially lose a lot of money. But yeah, basically McAfee said, look, software, one of the reasons for software is to help us do things that our brains naturally might have a hard time wrapping their heads around. So
there is software whose purpose is to take all of the things that our minds have difficulty doing, believing, or understanding, and doing it for us. You know,
he said what he thinks is one of the flaws in like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general is everybody's looking into the back-end data and how the blockchain works and everything else, but nobody's really trying to create softwares to, for lack of a better word, dumb down Bitcoin and make it easy for the average person to use. He said in order for Bitcoin to get mainstream adoption, he says some housewife who's not computer savvy has to be able to use Bitcoin, and in order for that to happen, we're going to have softwares. But anyhow, it was a really fascinating speech. I'll link to it in the description box below. I might drop some clips throughout this video if I feel like editing. I really hate video editing, so we'll see if I get around to that. But I'll try to edit some of the clips from him in. But I will drop the video in the description box below. So again, wrapping up, Bitcoin needs to be made more simpler. And if you're not using a hardware wallet like this Trezor, or as a lot of people call it, Trezor, or a Ledger, or a Keep Key, or Safe Keep, or whatever the hell the other one's called, you will have your Bitcoin stolen. So if you have any significant amount of money in Bitcoin, I would suggest getting one of these. And one other thing I wanted to add, a buddy of mine has like 40 grand in Bitcoins on his cell phone, and I keep telling him he's an idiot. View your cell phone as your wallet. You know, sure, okay, maybe you keep 50 grand in cash in your bedroom in a safe, but are you going to walk around with 50 grand in cash in your backpack or in your pocket? Probably not. So why would you keep large amounts of money on your cell phone, which is probably a much more vulnerable device than a computer, and both of which are much more vulnerable than a hardware wallet like this. So use this to store the bulk of your Bitcoins. Whatever you want to keep on your phone, make sure it's an amount comparable to what you would carry around in your pocket. You know, if you carry around $40 in your pocket, keep $40 on a cell phone bread wallet or mycelium wallet or whatever. If you carry around $100, carry around $100. I know none of us like to lose money, but what's an amount of money that you're comfortable losing if it did happen, and don't keep more than that on like a cell phone Bitcoin wallet. So really interesting talk. I'll link to it below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.